So, welcome everybody. I'm sorry for my voice. It's a little hoarse and still will continue. I would like everybody to put on their videos for a few minutes. Okay.
You want me to put a video?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So, any questions or any queries regarding the last session we had? Ishvara being everything. Both the maker and the material is Ishvara. This is a very unique proposition. Maker is Ishvara. This idea is prevalent in the most part of the globe. But the material itself is also not separate from Ishvara. I'm talking of this universe, the world we live in, the universe we live in. So that is also Ishvara. So just as the dreamer and the dream, they are non-separate. The dream is a byproduct of the dreamer. So the material of the dream, it also comes from the dreamer, and the creator of the dream is definitely the dreamer. So dreamer and the dream, whatever is the connection. Similarly, this entire universe and Ishvara. So that is the connection. And this is a very unique proposition. And then because of this, there are going to be many ramifications. And that we will be discussing in this session. So any questions, any queries, any doubts? Okay, fine. Rajeshji, can you please
Sure.
share that? So we will be playing the video in which I have been speaking.
Can you see
and
this or
then
not?
I will follow it up. Yeah.
Can you see the video or not?
No, not
So
yet.
all that is here is Ishvara.
Only the voice is coming.
Then what about the Devatas? Next one.
Can you see now?
I
or
don't
no?
see. No, I don't
No.
see anything. I don't hear anything.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. Stop this. Now it should be okay. Right?
Next one.
Is it okay?
Nothing is happening, Rajesh.
So all that is here is Ishvara.
So there is no video.
No video. I don't know why it is happening today. Because I can see it here. It is playing on my screen.
No, I don't see anything at all.
I don't know why it is happening today. I'm sharing the screen. Let me share the screen.
Next one.
How about now?
No, nothing.
Nothing.
By the way, we could see your screen, but nothing was playing. It was a blank.
Okay, let me see this one because I'm going there. Okay, let me see.
Now that file doesn't open on our screen. It may have opened on your screen. We see the cursor moving.
Next one.
Still not there?
No.
Nothing is
No.
opening.
Nothing's opening. We just see the InShot, the name of the file.
That is the
We just
file.
see
That's the file I'm
Yes.
opening. I don't know why.
That, yeah, but it's not opening. It's not opening.
It's so weird. I'm sorry about that. I don't know.
Probably
Rajesh,
it's not sharing with us.
Are you
This is
using
called-
multiple screens?
Sorry?
Are you using multiple screens?
Yeah.
Pause. Okay. So it is not gods. It is Devata. Okay. Devata has nothing to do with the word God. Now, what is a Devata? Devata is a particular aspect of Ishvara. And as we have already discussed, Ishvara is everywhere. It is everything. Nothing is separate from this Ishvara. This whole entire universe is a manifestation of Ishvara. Okay. So any aspect of this universe, if it is taken separately, that aspect is called a Devata. For example, if we take the heat element of this universe, in this universe, there are many aspects. Heat is one of the aspects, okay? Heat, sometimes light also. So the entire concept of heat and associated light is covered under one, it becomes a one body, and we give this body a name called Agni Devata. So Agni Devata represents the entire heat and sometimes light associated with that heat in this universe. So Agni Devata represents heat. Similarly, moisture, water, vapor, ice, anything to do with water and its different form, we give that entire aspect a different name, and we call it Varuna Devata. Okay. Then wherever there is thunderstorm, so heat and light generated due to friction of what you call the clouds or the material in this universe, we have a name for it. We call it Indra Devata. So Devata is a personified form of the particular aspect of this universe. Am I clear? Is it clear to you? Then one more important thing. All these aspects of this creation, they are not abstract forms or something dead, unresponsive. They respond. And that is why it is meaningful that we give it a personified form, a name, and we relate to that particular Devata in a particular way. So for us, this whole universe is palpably live. It is not dead. And not only it is live, it is responsive, it is intelligent. And each and every aspect of this universe, even separately, it behaves as a unit, and that unit is intelligent, it is lively, it is conscious, and it responds. And more detail, if you want to go into it, you can read one of the books, The Self-Aware Universe by Dr. Amit Goswami. He's a quantum physicist. And I remember in the year, I think it was 1997, or maybe 96, I don't remember exactly. He came to our Gurukulam and he stayed there. And then he took at least 3 days continuously. So we had roughly some 16 or 18 hours of his classes on quantum physics. And there he introduced this topic and also his book, The Self-Aware Universe. The universe is aware of itself. It's not a dead matter. So this is a very different dimension about Ishvara, about the Devata. Now sometimes, this is the problem. Is the recording on? I don't know.
No, it was on before.
Yeah, it was already on. Now some people translate the word Devata as demigod. Now who gave them that license, we don't know. As long as they define what demigod means, that is fine, but they don't define. They simply translate Devata as demigod. Now demigod, they present as if it's a dummy god. And then it creates all sorts of problems. Okay, so better we use the original word and try to understand the original word in its original meaning, rather than first giving a translation and then creating a confusion, and then the confusion is propagated. Then another important thing, another unique proposition of Hinduism is we believe in a cycle of birth and death. There are many other traditions or belief systems who do not believe in a cycle of birth and death. They believe in a birth which is a kind of abrupt, ad hoc, arbitrary. It just happens, and a human being takes birth, and then there is only one birth, one life, and after that life is over, you lie down, you rest in peace. You remember RIP? We have started copying this. RIP, rest in peace, rest in peace. So that concept is very different, and you should be aware of what that concept is. So that person lies down or buried under the earth, and then they wait for a particular day when their Almighty will appear, they give that name, some judgment day, some other day, or whatever name they give. I deliberately don't want to give the name or share the name. And then on that particular day, when that Almighty will appear, and all those who are buried under the earth, they will come out, and then there will be a judgment. Those who are faithful to that Almighty will be sent to heaven permanently, and those who are not faithful, they will be sent to the hell permanently. And then they are keenly waiting for that day to come, because then all their ancestors, including they themselves, they will all be present in front of their Almighty, and that judgment will be done. Now, listen very carefully. And that day will come only when in the entire globe, every human being on this globe subscribes to that particular Almighty or that particular whatever faith. Till then, that Almighty will not appear. So it becomes imperative on them to bring all the humanity in their fold, so that Almighty there will be an occasion for the Almighty to appear and give the judgment, deliver the judgment, and those buried ancestors also will get whatever judgment they deserve. So they are waiting for that day. And that is why there is a pressure to bring everyone in their fold. So can you see how a particular way of thinking, a particular belief system impacts the behavior of individuals and the entire community? That is one part. Second part is, because there is only one life, that makes the person desperate. Now, there is a positive side to it. It brings the animal instinct in that person. Okay? We all talk about that. Have that animal instinct in you. Just go and get it. Do it. Just do it. There is one tagline, I think the Nike brand, right? Something. Just do it. Yeah. A tick mark and just do it. So that is the positive side. But then the negative side is, the person is not relaxed. Person is desperate in everything. And because of that concept, it has taken so much of grip in the society that I hear people at the age of 40, they want to retire. Why? Quickly gain everything as fast as you can, and then quickly retire, and then do what? Then sponsor research on COVID. Create those germs. On one hand, you sponsor that part, and on the other hand, you sponsor the vaccine for that germ. And then we have this nice combination of on one hand, we have vaccines coming up, and on the other hand, new varieties of germs coming up. Anyway, it could be anything else. So that there is a desperateness. Another thing, educated people, thinking people, they call themselves having critical thinking. How can they accept an abrupt life coming out arbitrarily with no connection from the past, and it is just ad hoc? How do you explain that? And if you think that the creator created the life in an arbitrary form, in an ad hoc form, can I really trust that creator? Do I need to believe in such a creator? So all kinds of problems come. Whereas in the case of Hinduism, because we have this cycle of birth and death, that means what? This life came because there was a previous life. And whatever karma in the previous life or the life previous to that, they were done. Based on that, this life a person gets. A person is born rich or poor or middle class or whatever. A person may be healthy, may be unhealthy, may be handicapped, whatever. So there is a reason. And listen, it's not just a pure belief system. We also have the corroborative studies or the system of knowledge, which tells us, yes, this is how the previous life was. And that is where the astrology comes in, the predictive part of astrology. Dr. Papneja is here. So he is witness to one of such things. Okay. So there was a case where somebody's horoscope was being discussed. And the astrologer said that this person must have been separated from the parents in the initial few years of life. Now, neither, that the data had come through Dr. Papneja, somebody's horoscope, and we were discussing. And Dr. Papneja said that he's not aware of it. I don't know. So the astrologer said that, okay, if this is not confirmed, there is no point giving more predictions, because then the horoscope may be wrong. And then suddenly after a month or 2 months, Dr. Papneja called me up and said, yes, this person was separated from the biological parents and was adopted by the close relatives. So this is the power of astrology. And this is how the connection of previous birth and this birth can be established. And once you establish the previous birth and this birth connection, the birth previous to that, previous to that, previous to that, it comes by the logic of induction, mathematical induction. Okay, if it is proved that I had previous life, it is automatically proved I had life before that, and the life before that, and the life before that, and so on. And similarly, I will have a life after this, and a life later to that, and a later to that, etc. So this becomes so logical, so connected. Whereas in their case, that other system of beliefs, whereas there is only one life, there is no such connection, and just abrupt life. And if the life is abrupt, you can't talk of the past lives and no past karmas. Not only that, there are other problems. You can commit as many crimes as you can. Only thing is, at the last moment, if you confess, all your wrong actions are wiped out. So you don't have to take responsibility of what you have done. Whereas in the case of Hinduism, one is responsible. And that is why even the avatars are special form of that Almighty appearing in a particular form, in a special form. Even they have to go through their karma cycle. That means nobody is an exception. Whatever karma somebody has performed, one has to go through the consequences of those karma. Okay, so this is one set of thinking, and there is another set of thinking. Okay, then comes the most interesting part. Because of that final day where the Almighty will appear, because of the pressure to bring that Almighty, that particular day as soon as possible, those faiths, those traditions, they become proselytizing, because it becomes their religious duty, duty towards their Almighty, that to bring all the people in their fold. So they are not doing anything wrong. They are doing something good. This is what they think. So on one hand, we have a set of proselytizing communities or believers. And on the other hand, we have non-proselytizing. And then they have to coexist. It is like a tiger and a cow coexisting. The tiger has to depend upon the cow, eating the cow for its survival. And poor cow doesn't need the tiger. It has its own grass to eat. And now they have to coexist. Tell me, how long will they coexist? So this is the coexistence we are talking about. And when they do coexist, the coexistence is such, one set of believers have to engulf the other set of believers to survive, because that is what they are doing, their duty, their religious duty, engulfing them. Whereas the other one who is getting engulfed, they don't have any such pressure. There is no such aim. So finally, it comes a time comes when the cow realizes that I am getting attacked, and the cow tries to defend, and then there is a tussle between the tiger and the cow, and then there is the friction starts, and this is how the whole confusion of this world is going on. Many a times, many of the wars are based on this belief system, the collective belief system of a particular community or a few communities, etc. So this is, in this context, it becomes all the more important to understand the concept of Hinduism. How Hinduism can really be accommodative by its nature fundamentally, because it is not engulfing, it is not eating up other faiths, because it has no pressure to do that. Whereas there are certain faiths who have the pressure to eat up, engulf the remaining faiths. And this is where the competition starts, and this is where all the confusion starts. So once we are aware of this, these basic concepts, then we can understand how unique Hinduism is, and in what great treasure, we are just sitting upon and possibly ignoring it. So Hinduism and similar other thinking traditions, they are accommodative in nature. They themselves are accommodative in their DNA, because accommodation is part of their DNA. Whereas the other ones, they are not that accommodative. They need to finish up the other ones, the so-called non-believers, either finish them or bring them to your own fold. Whereas we allow everyone to live, we allow them to live, we ourselves, we are ready to live, because we have no such conflict. And with the other ramification of the thought of the basic Hindu thought, that all that is here is Ishvara, the reverence in every element of this universe comes naturally to us. So we don't have to separately protect the environment and the ecology, the ecological system, because it is ingrained in the very thinking process, the very the depth of our hearts. Whereas the other faith systems, they are consumers, because by the deepest of their faiths, they have only one life and they have to consume. In fact, some of them have this concept that only human being have soul, others don't have soul. You must have heard of this. How many of you know this? That only human being, please raise your hand. Only human being have souls and others don't have souls. And then here we first translate Atma as soul, which it is not. It's a faulty translation, and then create all kinds of confusion. This is called Hindu translation confusion. Atma is Atma, it is not soul. Because Atma, we say in every leaf, every cell, there is Atma. So how can it be soul? Soul is something, some concept which only human being have in a particular system of faith. So mixing up things, mixing up concepts, and making a khichdi out of it, it doesn't solve. It creates confusion. And then with that kind of vocabulary, the questions are put in front of us, either by our own children, grandchildren, or friends, or strangers. We are stumped. We don't have answer. So as soon as somebody puts up a question, first you say, please clarify, what do you mean by this word? We don't have this word. For example, even in Hinduism, there is no Sanskrit word for divorce. Do you know that? Because that concept didn't exist. So there is no word. This word talaq is a Urdu word. It's not a Sanskrit word. There is no Sanskrit word because the concept didn't exist. So you cannot impose a particular word from somewhere on something else and then try to understand that particular belief system. It doesn't work that way. So once we are aware of these basic facts, and these are the building blocks or the foundation of Hinduism, and when we understand this, we will be able to answer many queries, many questions. It just fits into the whole thing. And it is so logical and it is so rational. There is hardly any element of arbitrariness or inconsistency. It's so consistent. It's logical. And then it is so beautiful. And it is not just, as I said, it's not just a belief system, because then it is backed up by the knowledge of astrology and astronomy and so many other things. And whatever is being said can also be proven. The real life system. Even the devatas, as I said, they are live. They do respond. I have met people and I have seen in front of my own eyes such miracles happening. Devatas do respond. And why would I lie in front of you? Tell me. What do I promote? Because when I saw this, that time I was in my college. So I didn't know much about Hinduism. That is the time I saw it. So the devatas do respond. And with this understanding, when we live, we are not alone. And I tell you another thing. especially when this Shraddha Paksha comes, all kinds of funny jokes and all will appear. And they will say, where do the devatas reside? Do they reside here or are they there? If they are there, how will offering something here will reach them? Now, my dear, just try to understand. We are all using mobile phones. In fact, some of us are using it right now. Correct? Wireless. Right? Now, how many different bands are there in our in the radio waves through which our mobiles are running? Do you have any idea? It's such a wide range of bands from I think 500 megahertz or something to many gigahertz. Now, all these waves, all of them are simultaneously existing everywhere, including I sitting here in India and you sitting there in different parts of the world. They are simultaneously existing. You tune on one particular band that doesn't switches off other bands. All the bands are working simultaneously in and through the whole system. They are overlapping and yet not creating any confusion. Do you know that? All different radio waves, all of them, different varieties. They behave differently with different instruments, but they coexist simultaneously everywhere and overlapping each other in and through us. Similarly with those devatas. Where do the devatas exist? Everywhere, just like those radio waves, in and through. If you know how to tap it, you can make use of it. If you don't know how to tap it, anyway, it will remain as it is. This is how those devatas, so many devatas, so many aspects of this universe, they coexist in this universe. And they respond. If you connect with them, they will respond. If you can't connect with them, they won't respond. So this is the concept of Ishvara and the Devata and the cycle of birth and death, theory of karma, all put together. And that makes Hinduism such a unique tradition. So with this, I throw open the session for question and answers. I'm sorry, my voice may not be that smooth to hear, but then I was helpless because the video was not playing.
Yes, it was good. Your voice was fine. So thank you for that. Okay. Helping us out on that. Any question, please?
Can I go ahead?
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I just
Could
have
you please
one
put
thing.
on your video? Yeah.
Yes. The only thing I would like to add is it's a very unfortunate thing that
We cannot see you, although the video is
sorry.
on. I think the orientation.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a very unfortunate thing that most of us are not aware of the basics of Hinduism, unfortunately. All that you hear from the so-called gurus, the lectures you have, I mean, it's good you have about the Puranas and everything. But basically, when you even talk to a child, they have no concept, like how you have been explaining. And I think that would make a lot of difference for the youths today to understand our heritage and our background.
True.
And I feel very sorry, including myself. I mean, I think people questioning me, why you do this. And I started to look for answers because we were never taught the basics of that. You go to the temple, you worship this, you do this. We know the rituals per se, but
True.
we do not have, like how you explain what are devatas? Why do we do that? And I really wish that would be taught somehow, either in the temples. Like I know a lot of gurus come, but again, I find it is more superficial part of it, ye karo, wo karo, ye ritual karo, such bolo, we all know that. But I think having an ingrained knowledge as you are giving us would help us become stronger in what we believe in. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Mathai, I think
Yeah.
you were asking something.
I have a few questions actually.
Sure.
So I'm still not 100% clear on when you say devatas will respond. I don't know what it means when you say respond. And I've heard that.
I tell you, just let us break your question point wise, so that others will also get benefited.
Yeah.
If you invoke the heat principle, suppose the heat is troubling you. Okay. There is a lot of forest fire. Say, let us take a very gross example. Okay. Forests are getting destroyed. And then if you invoke the Agni Devata, that please calm down and let this fire, your form in the, you in the form of fire, the gross fire, let it not burn things more and more. Okay. And then we can even invoke the Varuna Devata and the Vayu Devata, that let the winds blow in this particular direction so that the fire doesn't get transferred to the drier part of forest, and let the rains come. And when you do it all together, a forest fire can be extinguished. Do you know that? This is called responding. The devatas responding.
So why do the devatas make it so difficult to invoke them?
It's not that difficult, my dear. It is as much as trying to understand a pet dog, although I don't keep any dog here with me. But if I start keeping one dog and I just start paying attention to that dog, do you know, I will start understanding the language. Not that I'll start barking. Correct? Do you understand what you mean to say?
Yeah.
But I know what it means, and that dog will know what I mean. And how it happens? Just by paying attention. How a mother of a first child understand the child. See, by the time she has a second child, she becomes experienced mother. Okay. But for the first child, the child cries in a particular way and the mother understands what it means. And sometimes it doesn't understand, it takes time. But later on, the mother understands. How? Just by paying attention. There's no special courses for that. I give you another example. I used to tell one of my students, he was having some problems. So I just said, I hope all of you understand the word roti. Roti means chapati, whatever. So I would say, how many rotis do you eat? He said 4. I said, eat less. Okay. We eat 3 chapatis. He said, then what about when the day I have only pulao, only rice, then how do I know how much I should eat? I said, just make an estimate. When your stomach is full, you know what fullness means. So don't allow it to be full. Do you know what he said? He said, how do you know your stomach is full? Because he was not in touch with his own digestive system, his own stomach. So he didn't know how do you know it is full? Because he used to watch TV while eating or doing some work on his computer while eating. So he never knew to get the signal from the body that the stomach is getting full or it is becoming 3/4 or 80% is full now and only little bit more he needs. He doesn't know. I said, nobody can teach you and nobody can prove you. Just start paying attention. First you learn when your stomach is full. And after 6 months he met, he said, yes, now I understand when my stomach is full. And I also now know when my stomach is 3/4 full. So where to stop, I know. This is how you connect with the Devata. Is it difficult? It depends. Yes, it is very difficult. You won't even know when your stomach is full what to talk of a Devata or something else. Is it easy? Yes, very much easy. Just connect and it will respond. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Again, how to pay attention to fire, things like that. At this stage of my life, I'm not sure how to do that. Maybe eventually.
Do you know how to pay attention to a pet dog?
Yeah. I do have one, and I truly believe we communicate very well. He signals to me when he wants to go out, and
then you know better.
But that's a live thing.
Yeah, then you know better than me. Yeah, that's another thing. It's a live thing. I know intimately that it is live. Whereas Devata, whether it is there or not, even that is under question.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
You don't have to, I mean, the aspect of universe is there definitely or not. Heat is there or not.
Yeah, for sure.
Heat is there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, only thing you have to believe is the heat will respond. And the temporary belief. And it will start responding. And if you still have doubts, go and read that book, The Self-Aware Universe. Every electron, the smallest particle in this universe responds. Then what to talk of a collective electrons? Heat, etc. are just collective electrons. Okay, next question.
You said the life goes back to previous lives. So where does the origin happen? If there's a life before us, and there's another life before us, shouldn't there be our first life?
As soon as you come to that first life, it will become arbitrary. You see, we are so much attuned to linear thinking that anything which is cyclic, we try to measure it through linearity, a linear scale. And that is where the problem comes. It's endless. Circle doesn't have an end, do you know? That's why it's called endless. It is endless. Things need not start or stop. And yet they can be. Like a circle. Got my point?
Yeah.
Why a thing has to start? It need not.
So how did, but still I'm curious, how did it start? Somebody has to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, again, the same thing. I'm so accustomed to linear thinking. All my measuring tapes are linear, that a cyclic or circular thing becomes difficult to grasp. So my questions arise from the linear thinking, whereas the concept which I am trying to understand, it's a cyclic thinking. It is like infinity. I'm sure you must be aware of the word infinite, infinity, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how big is infinite?
Yeah. Cannot
This
be.
is a silly question. Why? Because it assumes infinite is adding some finite numbers.
Right.
Then you can never reach infinity. To understand infinity, you cannot be in the finite domain and then understand infinite. Got my point?
Yep.
Similarly, you cannot have something linear and understand a cyclical process. I remain in the linear domain and try to understand a cyclical thing. It doesn't work. Again, you read the same book, The Self-Aware Universe. It talks about entangled hierarchy. The snake eating its own tail. It's a cyclical thing. Any other question?
Yeah, I have just one more. Sorry to take up so
Sure.
much time. Again, I understand about karma and how one has to exhaust one's the fruition of one's karma. But then, how does the atma really transfer into another body? I don't know if it can be answered.
This can be a topic of a talk itself,
Okay.
because
I thought
the
as
word Atma itself is used in so many contexts. Atma can be used as body. Atma means me. Okay. The translation of the word Atma is me. Now, me, when I say me, it can have many meanings. It depends how I see me. Me can be this body. Me can be something beyond the body. Me can be something within the body. Me can be something within and beyond the body. Got my point? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So first we have to define in which context we are talking the word Atma. Okay. Then we will be able to define it and explain it. And I'll keep that in mind maybe. Next time you repeat your question once more. How
Next
Atma?
time?
Yeah.
You want me to repeat it now or next time?
You repeat your question now, because
So he
that
will
will
keep
become
it.
the topic for the next time.
Yeah, how the atma moves from one body to the other at the time of death.
Yeah, we will do it. Just I'll briefly give you a hint. Atma is, in this context, like a SIM card. How it moves from one mobile to the other. Okay.
Okay.
More we will explain in the next class. Any other question from anybody?
This is not exactly a question, but it's just confirmation from you. Going back to Thomas's question about previous birth to previous birth to previous birth. I was wondering if I could compare it to the trees.
Mhm.
Especially here in Canada, we have the 4 seasons. You have the
Mhm.
spring, which I like to liken it to the birth. Then we have spring, summer. It's like maturity. We have fall when the leaves are falling, that is old age. And come winter, literally for me, I look at it as though it is death. Exactly.
Right.
So every year, every season, so every spring, it is a new birth taking place. The
Right.
tree is the same. But before the tree has even come into existence, it is the seed.
Hmm.
So the seed is always there.
True.
I'm just trying to understand to
Mhm.
what he said, and I'm trying to, in my own mind, I guess his point and my point, I'm just trying to ask you whether
Mhm.
is my thinking in some ways correct, not necessarily linear.
No,
That analogy may not work, right?
you
Because
said
it's
seasonality in the tree, right?
Yeah.
And then you said seed and the tree.
No, what I'm saying is the tree is one.
Okay,
It's
then it
always there.
produces
It's
seeds.
producing. Yeah. So
Correct.
if I compare
Hmm.
my Atma to the tree
Hmm.
and every birth
Hmm.
to the cyclical circle of the tree life here, at least in Canada, growing
Hmm.
and then dying. But the
Right.
actual tree itself came out of a seed. So in the beginning, there was only the seed. There was no really tree or anything.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm just
that,
trying.
that was my issue. Where did that seed come from? Somebody has to put a seed somewhere for
Right.
that
It's
tree to.
already, what if it is already existing, like how Acharyaji said about the spider and the web coming out. So if it is all within that, so there's nobody has to put anything there because we are all coming out of that. And we are not really coming out of that, but we are all there. So it is already inherent. So
Yeah.
when the
Now,
sorry,
yeah. Let me put it. There are two things, two points which I have to deal with. The easier one first I'll deal. The linear thinking comes from our orientation that things began. And possibly that orientation was foisted upon us through those other belief system where life began. Whereas here, life never began. It was always there. Even the whole creation they talk about, the creation and the pralaya, they call it pralaya means dissolution. And then again creation, again dissolution. So when was it first created? That question doesn't exist because it's cyclical. Whereas the non-cyclical question exists in the other faiths, and those faiths have decided our orientation in our school days or college days or whatever. So we start taking that orientation to understand this cyclical thing, and we never get an answer. Okay? Just as you will never get an answer, how big is infinite using finite numbers? Never. Now, second thing is here. She was trying to correlate Atma and the tree and the seed, right?
sort of.
Sort of, yeah. That model has some limitation. Because why? The tree continues even when it is producing seeds. The same tree continues.
Mm.
So there the example sort of becomes incomplete. Whereas,
No, I'm thinking of the origin. That's what he was talking about. So that's what it came
yeah,
to me. I
so
did
that
not
is
think
why
about.
the nearest example which I found, of course, there are defects even in this example, the SIM card and the mobile phone. In fact, the SIM card stores all your karma. How much at one point of time we used to have that prepaid cards. So how much balance is there? How much you have spent? And is it a negative balance, positive balance? How many more calls you can make, etc., etc. And the phone, you change the phone. The phone becomes old, but you transfer the SIM from this phone to another phone, and it starts running with all the balances, all your karma balances. Karma means how much money you have paid to the company, the service provider. So this could be more near to this example of SIM and the phone, comes closer to this birth, the life, and the karma, individual karma, and then the body going off, and then the Atma going into another body, etc. So anyway, we'll discuss this in detail next
We can
time.
do it as a separate topic actually.
Yeah, this will be a separate topic. So we stop here with a small prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you.